on the diabetes mellitus. That is the pharmacotherapy of diabetes mellitus. Okay. It is a very important topic for you. It is asked as a long question for your examination, and it is important for your short notes. And what is the question asked in your examination? I will tell you during the lecture. Okay. First, what is meant by the diabetes mellitus? Diabetes mellitus is a group of metabolic disorder. How it is characterized? It is characterized by the chronic hyperglycemia, which is associated with the disturbances in carbohydrate metabolism, fat, and protein metabolism due to the absolute or relative deficiency in the insulin. Or if the insulin is present, the body may be resistant to the insulin. That is called as a diabetes mellitus. That is increase in the blood sugar level. Okay. What are the adverse effects caused by the diabetes mellitus? It is long-term dysfunction and the failure of the major organ like the renal, and it is also causes the damage to the vascular area, and that is it causes the atherosclerosis due to the high blood sugar. How will you diagnose the diabetes mellitus? It is the plasma fasting glucose level. It is more than 126 milligram per deciliter. Normally, fasting it is around 90 to 100. And if it is more than 126, it is labeled as a diabetes mellitus. And the symptoms of the diabetes mellitus and the random blood sugar level of the diabetes mellitus, that is random. That means the patient is not fasting or PP is not counted in that. And the blood sugar level in that is called as a random blood sugar level is more than 200 milligram per deciliter. It is in the pregnancy, we normally do the oral glucose tolerance test. Oral glucose tolerance test, that is after giving the 75 gram of the glucose and measure the blood sugar level after 2 hours. It is more than 200 milligram per deciliter. It is the criteria for the diagnosis of the diabetes mellitus. How it is classified? It is this classification is proposed by the American Diabetes Association in 1997, and it is classified mainly into type 1 and type 2. Type 3 it is considered in the genetic disorder, and type 4 that is the gestational during the pregnancy. If the mother during pregnancy it is diabetic, it is likely to cause the diabetes in the future in her. Okay. First is the type 1 diabetes mellitus. What is meant by the type 1 diabetes mellitus? It is a absolute, underline absolute insulin deficiency due to the islets cell destruction on the pancreas. It may be an immune disorder, autoimmune or the idiopathic. And type 2 it is a relative insulin deficiency, that means insulin is present but body is resistant to that. It is due to the impairment in the function of the beta cell and lack or decrease of the insulin secretion or marked increase in the peripheral resistance of the insulin. So, for the pharmacological point of view, remember type 1 and the type 2 diabetes mellitus. This is important. Then, what happens in the normal individual? How the blood sugar level is increases. When we took the glucose or after the meal, there is a sudden amounts of the insulin released in the blood. It is around 80 units of the insulin milligram per ml of the plasma insulin concentration is increases. That is the 80 milligram after the taking food. That is response of the glucose in the body. And in the type 2 diabetes mellitus, or what happened in the type 2 diabetes mellitus, there is increase in the insulin level, but it is not as compared to the normal individual. That means half of the insulin is present in the circulation, that is blood circulation. Then there is a type 1 diabetes mellitus. What happened in the type 1 diabetes mellitus? Even if increases the blood glucose or increase after taking meal, the insulin concentration is not there. That means absolute deficiency of the insulin. Okay. So what happened in the type 2 diabetes mellitus? There is an insulin resistance in the peripheral region. What happened in the liver? There is increased production of the glucose by the gluconeogenesis, and this glucose is taken up by the adipose tissue for the energy production or the storage, and it is also taken by the muscle for the energy. But what happened in the type 2 diabetes mellitus? This there is an insulin resistance. Insulin is not working, so that the glucose uptake in the muscle as well as the adipose tissues decreases. Again, there is inadequate insulin secretion from the beta cells. That is beta cell destruction or the inadequate secretion of the beta cell. So we have to stimulate the pancreatic beta cell to increase the insulin production by the oral hypoglycemic drugs in the type 2. Remember, in the type 2. This oral hypoglycemic drug, it is not helpful in the type 1 diabetes mellitus. The definitive treatment of the type 1 diabetes mellitus is the only insulin. Okay, only insulin is a treatment for the type 1. Then, how this pancreas composed? It consists of beta cell and alpha cell. Along with the delta cell also there. This beta cell secretes the insulin. It is 65 to 70% in total mass of the pancreas, and alpha cell that it causes the secretion of the glucagon. It is around 25%. So this is a normal physiology of the human insulin, beta cell statistics. In that, only 2% of the pancreas weight is endocrine and 98% it is exocrine. It is studied in your physiology, already studied in the physiology. Total number of islets is 1 lakh and the number of the cell and islets is 1 to 2000. Beta cell islets is 65 to 70% and the total insulin storage is the 200 units. Daily insulin release in the body is 40 to 50 units and 1 unit insulin required for the transport of this glucose in the cell, that is 8 to 10 gram of the glucose transferred into the cell with the help of the insulin. Then next is the most important topic, that is the insulin. What is the pharmacology of insulin? In this we studied what is the function of the insulin, what is the mechanism action of the insulin, what are the different types of the insulin analogs. How this insulin is discovered? By the miracle of the insulin in the patient, that is Leonardo Thomas in 1922. It is this child, it is deficient in insulin. In this child age group, there is a presence of the type 1 diabetes mellitus. So because of the lack of insulin, the glucose is not utilized in the muscle mass. So child is marasmus, that is underweight, and after giving the insulin, the weight of the child is increases. That is miracle happen with this child. What is the biosynthesis of insulin? Biosynthesis, as you see in this structure, that is the proinsulin, pre-proinsulin is converted to proinsulin, and this proinsulin is converted to insulin. In pre-proinsulin, there is the carboxylate and amide. Along with it is thiocyanate bond is there formation, and this proinsulin is converted to proinsulin. With in that the bond is replaced by sulfate, and again the proinsulin in the insulin from proinsulin is converted into the insulin. It is there is the sulfate bond is there, but amino acid sequence is different than that of the proinsulin. This is the structure of the insulin. In the structure of the insulin, there is a A chain and B chain. In the A chain, there is 21 amino acid, and B chain is the 30 amino acid. So, how will you obtain the insulin, and what is the source of the insulin? In the for the treatment of the insulin, we have the 3 sources, that is human. It is more purified. Is human insulin, but the disadvantage is that this is more costlier than that of the pork and beef insulin. The pork insulin, it is more identical to the human insulin, and the antigenic property of the pork insulin is less as compared to the beef. It is less. It's an amino acid sequence in this, and how it is differ in the amino acid sequence in the human, pork, and the beef insulin. But human insulin is more purified, less antigenic, but more costlier than that of the pork and beef insulin. Then what happens if the beta cell in the pancreas is in the rest? That is, blood glucose, it is decreases. If the blood glucose decreases, and the gut receptors, that is transport of the glucose, is within the cell. It is through the gut receptor. This gut receptor, it is through the glucose transport receptor. It is converted. It goes inside the cell. It slows the metabolism if it is in the rest, and ATP production is decreased, so that the potassium channel open and there is leaking of the potassium from the cell. The cell at the resting membrane potential, and there is the blockage of the calcium channel, and the insulin store in the vesicle is as it is. But when there is the after food intake, what happens in the blood? Glucose releases. This glucose causes a stimulation of the gut receptors. It causes increase in the glycolysis, and the citric acid cycle is increases. It causes the production of ATPase. This ATPase causes the closing of the potassium channel. With less potassium use this cell, and causes the depolarization of the cell. This depolarization opens the calcium channels, and this calcium entry inside the cell it causes the trigger to the insulin vesicle. This is insulin vesicle. It causes the release of the insulin from the cell through the beta cell. Then bioassay of insulin. Bioassay means, that means 1 unit, international unit, reduces the basal sugar level to the 45 milligram per deciliter in fasting rabbit, or 1 milligram of insulin is equal to it is 28 international unit. It can also be measured by radioimmunoassay and enzyme immunoassay. Then the regulation of the insulin secretion. How it is regulated? Again, it is very important for your examination purpose. How insulin secretion is regulated. It is short note for you. It is by the direct stimulation. When the glucose is there or amino acid is there, it is also called as the incretins. Amino acid and ketone bodies. It is also called as the incretins. This plasma glucose level increases the insulin secretion. Powers of insulin secretion is there when we took meals during the meal time. Okay. Then hormonal regulation. In the hormonal regulation, it is regulated by the somatostatins and the glucagon. Then there is also the gastrointestinal hormones, that is the GIP1, glucagon, ingredient peptides, and cholecystokinase directly stimulate the beta cell and increases the insulin relay, also called as the incretins. Okay. Then the neuronal regulation. In the neuronal regulation, there is a parasympathetic and sympathetic. Parasympathetic stimulate the insulin release through the IP3-DAG pathway. Then again, the sympathetic. When the beta-2 receptor is stimulated, there is increase in the insulin release through the beta-2 activation. But when the alpha-2 receptor is stimulated, there is a decrease in the insulin secretion. Okay, this is a neuronal regulation of the insulin. Like this: beta cell, alpha cell, delta cell.